Have you ever jolted awake in the silent hours of the night, staring at the clock glowing 3 a.m., and felt a strange chill run through you? Many people dismiss this as nothing more than aging, or worse, they fear it means something is deeply wrong. But what if I told you that waking at 3 a.m. carries meanings far beyond a simple bad night's sleep? What if these moments reveal hidden truths about your body, your mind, and the unseen rhythms guiding your life? This hour, often called the window of the soul, has been wrapped in mystery for centuries. Some cultures believe it is a time when the veil between the conscious and subconscious is thinnest, when emotions buried during the day rise to the surface. Others see it as the body's silent alarm, pointing towards subtle imbalances in health or shifts in the internal clock of aging. Whatever the explanation, one thing is certain: waking at this time is not random, and it is not meaningless. It is a signal, sometimes physical, sometimes emotional, that your body and mind want you to pay attention. And once you understand these signals, you will never look at 3 a.m. the same way again. So stay with me until the very end of this video, because what you are about to discover may not only change the way you sleep, but also how you understand yourself in this stage of life. If this resonates with you already, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. Your support gives us the motivation to continue creating meaningful content that informs, inspires, and uplifts. Now, let me leave you with a small question to reflect on. When you wake at 3 a.m., do you believe it is A, a simple sign of aging and nothing more? B, a deeper signal from your body or mind asking to be heard? Comment your answer below A or B, and let us know your perspective. When you begin to look beyond the mystery of those early morning awakenings, one of the clearest truths you uncover is that your body itself is quietly changing. Aging is not just about what you see in the mirror, it is about the chemistry working deep within you, shaping how you rest, how you wake, and how you experience each moment of the night. Central to this is the role of hormones, especially melatonin, the natural signal that tells your brain it is time to rest. In your younger years, melatonin was abundant, flowing through your system each evening, guiding you gently into long, uninterrupted sleep. But as the years pass, that production slows, and the once strong signal begins to weaken. By the time the night reaches its deepest stillness, the reserves of melatonin may no longer be enough to hold you in the embrace of sleep. Without realizing it, you drift back toward wakefulness, not because you want to, but because your body no longer provides the chemical anchor that once kept you at rest. This decline is not a failure, nor a flaw, but a natural process, one that every aging body goes through. Yet, its impact can feel profound. You may go to bed peacefully, only to find yourself alert at 3 a.m., staring at the darkness with questions that have no immediate answers. It is in this moment that biology reveals its quiet power. Your sleep is not broken, your rhythm is simply shifting. And this shift can be intensified by the smallest triggers around you. A dim glow from a digital clock, the soft beam of a streetlight slipping through the curtains, or even the brief flash of a passing car, all of these can suppress what little melatonin remains. Where once your body shrugged off such disturbances, now it responds quickly, almost urgently, and the result is wakefulness. Take the story of Margaret, who at 70 found herself waking almost at the same time each night. For months she wondered if stress was the culprit, or if perhaps she was falling ill. But the reality was far simpler and less frightening. Her melatonin had declined, and her body was responding to the faintest cues of light and sound. With this knowledge, she stopped blaming herself. She began closing her curtains tighter, silencing electronics in her bedroom, and replacing harsh lighting with softer, warmer tones. None of these were dramatic changes, yet together they gave her body the support it needed to hold sleep a little longer. What had once felt like a personal weakness transformed into a simple adjustment of environment and expectation. The beauty of understanding these shifts is that it turns frustration into compassion. When you know that waking at 3 a.m. may come not from anxiety, nor from any fault of your own, but from the natural ebb of a hormone, you stop fighting yourself. You begin to listen. You begin to experiment with ways to work alongside your biology instead of resisting it. For some, it might mean creating an evening ritual that signals to the brain that night has truly arrived. a quiet walk after dinner, dimming the lights early, or sipping a warm, non-caffeinated drink. For others, it may mean exploring gentle supplements with the guidance of a physician, or simply reshaping expectations of what a good night's sleep looks like at this stage of life. What matters most is the shift in perspective. By recognizing that your body is still doing its job, alerting you, responding, adapting you, reclaim your sense of trust in it. Those 3 a.m. wake-ups no longer have to be a source of irritation. They can become reminders of the resilience and sensitivity that your body still carries. In this awareness, you not only learn to care for yourself better at night, but you also gain a deeper respect for the intricate, evolving balance within you. And that respect is the foundation for gentler, more restorative rest, night after night. As we move deeper into the understanding of why so many older adults awaken at 3 a.m., it becomes clear that hormones are only one part of the story. Another profound influence is the way time itself begins to reshape inside the body. Our internal clock, the circadian rhythm, was once aligned with late evenings and longer mornings. But as the years pass, this rhythm shifts forward, nudging you to fall asleep earlier in the night and to wake earlier in the morning. What many describe as a problem of insomnia is often nothing more than this quiet, biological reset. You may think something is wrong because you wake before dawn, but in truth, your body may simply believe that the night is already complete. Imagine a clock that has been gently winding forward over the decades. It does not move in dramatic leaps, but in subtle nudges. So subtle you hardly notice until one evening, you find yourself yawning at 9 o'clock, unable to keep your eyes open through a film you once would have finished with ease. By 3 in the morning, your sleep cycle has run its course, and your eyes open naturally, as though it were already time to greet the day. This is not brokenness, it is biology recalibrating itself. Yet, because the world outside still sleeps, the experience feels strange and unwelcome. Layered on top of this shifting rhythm are the realities of physical health. As the body ages, it carries with it a greater weight of discomforts, some subtle, others more pressing, that make sleep fragile. Arthritis tightens its grip on joints that have served faithfully for decades, and what was once a comfortable position in bed becomes a source of pain after hours of stillness. Digestion slows, and a late meal may stir up acid reflux in the quiet of the night. Even something as ordinary as the bladder changes, becoming less elastic, demanding attention more often, and sending you out of bed when you most crave rest. Each of these signals, on its own, may seem minor, but together they form a chorus that gently but persistently calls you out of slumber. Take the story of Daniel, a retired teacher of 67. For months he awoke at almost the same time each night with a dull ache across his lower back. He believed it was restlessness, or perhaps anxiety, until he finally spoke with his doctor and learned that arthritis was disrupting his rest. By adjusting his evening routine, stretching before bed, and replacing his old mattress, he discovered that his wake-ups grew less frequent. It was not that his body had failed him, it was that his body was asking for care in a new way. Medication, too, plays a role that is often overlooked. Pills prescribed for blood pressure, heart conditions, or pain can bring hidden side effects. Changes in body temperature, increased urination, or heightened sensitivity to noise. Eleanor, a 76-year-old widow, spent a year blaming herself for waking in the dead of night before realizing that one of her prescriptions was quietly altering her sleep. With her physician's help, she shifted the timing of her dosage and added small lifestyle adjustments, and suddenly, her nights grew calmer. What she once saw as personal weakness revealed itself as a simple interaction between medicine and biology. What unites all these experiences is the message they carry. Your body, even as it wakes you at inconvenient hours, is still communicating, still doing its work. A stiff joint signals the need for gentler care. A restless bladder points to natural aging. A disruption in rhythm reflects a clock ticking on faithfully. To recognize these moments not as interruptions but as signs is to regain a sense of partnership with your body. It is not betraying you, it is guiding you, offering you chances to adapt and adjust. And in that recognition, the frustration of 3 a.m. begins to soften. You no longer see the darkness as your enemy, but as a quiet reminder that your body is alive, responsive, and still speaking to you, even in the deepest hours of the night. Beyond the chemistry of hormones and the shifting rhythms of the circadian clock, another force quietly shapes the pattern of those 3 a.m. awakenings: lifestyle. The way you move through your days, the choices you make in the evening, even the structure or lack of structure of your routine can create powerful ripple effects that show themselves in the still hours of the night. Aging often brings with it a gentler pace of life, and while this change can be a gift, it also comes with hidden consequences for sleep. Without realizing it, many older adults begin to drift into routines that encourage earlier nights and, in turn, earlier mornings. Think about how retirement changes the rhythm of a household. The demands of commuting, work schedules, or late-night responsibilities fade away. Days become quieter, more open, and while this brings freedom, it also removes many of the cues that once anchored your body's timing. Without these external signals, your body may naturally decide to shift its rest period forward. You might start eating dinner earlier, winding down in the calm of the evening, and heading to bed before the clock even reaches 9. Over time, this pattern becomes ingrained, and before you know it, 3 in the morning feels like the end of a full night's rest, rather than the middle of it. Food, too, plays a subtle but important role. When meals are taken much earlier in the evening, your body has already completed most of its digestive work by midnight. For some, this means that by the early morning hours, blood sugar levels begin to dip. The body interprets this change not always as hunger, but as a signal that pulls you toward wakefulness. And while eating dinner early can feel wholesome and balanced, it can unintentionally set the stage for disrupted sleep if not paired with thoughtful adjustments. Even a small, balanced evening snack can sometimes make the difference between a night broken in two and a night that feels whole. Caffeine is another hidden player. As the metabolism slows with age, the effects of coffee or tea linger longer in the body. What once felt harmless, a cup of coffee in the early afternoon or a piece of dark chocolate after dinner, may now echo hours later, keeping your sleep light and fragile. You may not connect the dots at first, yet the body remembers, holding on to those stimulants and whispering them back to you when you least expect it. Consider the story of Walter, a 74-year-old who found himself waking night after night before dawn. At first, he thought the problem was simply age itself. But as he looked more closely at his days, he realized how much they had changed since retirement. His dinners had crept earlier, his evenings were spent in dim light with little stimulation, and he often dozed off in his recliner before heading to bed. Without meaning to, he had shifted his entire cycle forward by several hours. By adding just a few small adjustments, an afternoon walk, brighter light in the evening, and a conscious effort to avoid napping after supper, he began to push his rhythm back, and his 3 a.m. wake-ups gradually softened. The lesson here is that our bodies crave rhythm, and when daily life becomes too quiet or predictable, the rhythm drifts. Sleep is not just a biological process. It is a dialogue between your body and the signals you send it each day. Light, food, activity, conversation, all of these are cues, telling your system when to rise, when to rest, and when to restore. When those cues weaken, the body improvises, often shifting toward an earlier cycle. But by noticing the patterns and gently reshaping them, you can reclaim balance. These changes do not require drastic effort. They ask only for awareness and a willingness to experiment. A walk after dinner, a brighter lamp beside your chair, a conversation with a friend in the evening, or even the discipline to stay awake just a little longer before bed can all become powerful tools. Each action tells your body, not yet, it's still day, helping you stretch your cycle so that rest carries you closer to morning. In this way, 3 a.m. can be transformed from an hour of frustration into a reminder of the quiet power of routine. Your choices, as simple as they seem, can guide your body back into harmony and gift you with the deeper, uninterrupted sleep you long for. When we look beyond the physical body, the hormones, the shifting rhythms, and even the patterns of daily life, we arrive at a dimension that is perhaps the most powerful of all the landscape of the human heart and mind. Many of the awakenings that occur at 3 in the morning are not driven by light, pain, or routine, but by the quiet persistence of thought and emotion. This hour, when the rest of the world is asleep, strips away the distractions of the day and leaves you face to face with yourself. For some, it is the weight of old memories resurfacing. For others, it is the hum of worries left unspoken. What makes these moments unique is not their intensity, but their intimacy. They remind you that while the body ages, the mind continues to search for meaning, and the soul continues to ask for recognition. There is something about 3 a.m. that makes emotions louder. In daylight, they are drowned out by conversation, chores, and the busyness of living. But in the silence of night, they return with clarity. The mind recalls conversations never finished, regrets never healed, joys that now feel distant. Some people describe it as loneliness, others as reflection, but in truth it is both. To wake in this hour is to step into a space where you are both vulnerable and profoundly aware. It can be unsettling, but it can also be an opportunity. If treated with curiosity rather than fear, it becomes a time to listen deeply to yourself, to hear what your heart has been trying to say all along. Consider the story of Gloria, who at 80 often found herself awake before dawn. Her days were full of activity, gardening, visits from grandchildren, phone calls with friends. But at night, in the quiet, her thoughts turned back to her late husband. She would lie in bed replaying moments they shared, both beautiful and painful, feeling a swell of emotions she had ignored during the day. At first, she despised these awakenings, believing they were proof of her weakness, but then she began to see them differently. She kept a small notebook by her bed, and when she woke, she wrote down whatever came into her mind. Sometimes it was a memory, sometimes a fear, sometimes a simple longing. By giving her emotions a voice on paper, she gave them a place to rest, and in turn, her mind softened. What once felt like torment became a ritual of healing. This is the deeper lesson of emotional wakefulness. It is not the enemy of rest, but its teacher. Your mind wakes you because it needs attention. It asks you to acknowledge what is unresolved, to forgive yourself for what cannot be changed, to embrace gratitude for what remains. If you approach this hour with kindness, you transform it from a time of frustration into a time of reconciliation. Perhaps you pour your thoughts into writing, or pray, or meditate quietly. Perhaps you simply breathe, reminding yourself that it is natural to feel, natural to remember. The goal is not to suppress these emotions, but to honor them. What emerges from this understanding is a new way of seeing rest itself. True rest is not only the number of hours you sleep, but the peace you carry when you wake. If 3 a.m. becomes a time of gentle reflection rather than resentment, then even the wakefulness serves you. It becomes a space for wisdom, for connection with your own history, for releasing what burdens you. You may still wake at that hour, but instead of fearing it, you may welcome it as a moment of truth. In the end, these awakenings remind us of what it means to live fully. The body continues its work, the mind continues its search, and the heart continues to speak. At 3 a.m, you are reminded that you are alive, not merely existing, but feeling, remembering, growing. If you allow yourself to embrace this, the night ceases to be an enemy. It becomes a companion, guiding you toward deeper understanding and a quieter, truer form of rest.